Hey squirrels, welcome to ADHD, where ADHD isn't some clinical diagnosis, it's just life. I'm AV, your always honest tour guide through this beautiful mess. Over here, we're not about fixing yourself. We're about figuring out how to actually enjoy your life as you are. So grab a snack and let's go. Hey squirrels, welcome back to another week of ADHD, jumping in true ADHD fashion. If your calendar looks like chaos and your to-do list is a stack of broken promises and you keep saying yes to things that you knew you didn't have time for, this episode is going to sting a little, but in a good way. Sometimes pain can be good. So stick with me. I got you. We are talking about why ADHD entrepreneurs say yes to everything. And more importantly, how to stop. Right? Like not just with mindset, but with structure, with accountability. We're big on accountability here in this house, and with systems that will hold the line when your impulse brain is trying to burn things down and break the deal that y'all had with each other. Because saying no isn't a personality trait. It's a skill set, right? It's something that requires practice. And if your ADHD is like mine, then that skill needs a lot of practice and a lot of development. Because it's hard. Saying no is hard. And saying no when you feel like you can't trust yourself is hard. And saying no when you've learned to ignore your internal voice is hard. And saying no when you're afraid of societal pressure is hard. And it's just hard. And it takes practice, especially for my women. So let's go. Let's get into it. Let's be honest with each other because it's the only way I know how to be. And that's just, we got to trust each other like that. Saying yes feels like progress, right? It checks all my ADHD boxes. It hits all my little pleasure centers. Like novelty, yes, check. I'm doing a new thing. Excitement, check. Love it. Avoiding disappointing somebody, double check. I am here for that because we tell ourselves it's only going to take a minute. I'm going to figure it out later. Like for sure I can do this, right? We think that we can do everything, and we can do a lot of things. But like, yeah, no worries. I'll figure it out later. Like there's definitely a way to get this done. Say I, if that sounds like you. And also, if I don't say yes, I might regret it. Like I might be missing out on an opportunity. Who knows? Everything happens for a reason. We're very big on magical thinking. But what we're really doing is we are outsourcing future us. Current me is writing checks that future you's ass cannot cash. And what we're saying is, I don't want to deal with the discomfort of saying no. So I'm going to let the future version of myself deal with the consequences, which is, first of all, genuinely disrespectful to future you. Like why do you hate future you so much? What did future you ever do to you that you're going to set that version of yourself up for failure before they've even had a chance to get started? It's not just that it's impulsive, it's irresponsible. And just because we're ADHD doesn't mean we're not adults out here. So here's the accountability check-in. When's the last time that you said yes and felt like instant regret? Like, oh shit, I didn't mean yes. Think about it. When was the last time your yes stole time and energy from something else that actually mattered more? Write it down. Don't run from it. Do not hold it in your mind. Write it down because you cannot shift what you do not name, and you cannot change what you do not claim. Look at that cute little rhyme. That sounded good. Write it down. The last time I did this. Don't run away from your lesson. So saying yes feels good. That's one of the reasons we say yes. And then there's prioritization challenges. With ADHD, everything feels urgent. There's two times in the world. There is now or not now. And not now can often be never because we forget about it. In our current mindset, we're excited. We say yes. All of the things that check off our dopamine boxes when we say yes, we feel real good about ourselves. And there's novelty and hooray. But then you have to actually do the thing and it's not exciting anymore. With ADHD, everything feels urgent and we don't naturally rank importance because urgency equals dopamine, and that's the system that our brain functions on. So without without a system in place to decide what you say yes to and what you say no to, everything gets the same emotional weight. And you end up making decisions based on your capacity at the moment. Or, like I said, magical thinking of everything. I'm going to have so much time, more time in the future. It's just that I'm busy now. So without that system, again, everything gets the same emotional weight. And that's why we say yes to client requests that are out of scope and that we can't deliver on. And we say yes to collaborations that we don't have capacity for. We say yes to social events that we know are going to drain us, that maybe we don't even need to be at. And here's where accountability comes in. Because you can't just say, well, that's the way I am and it's so hard for me. Yes, of course that's the way you are and it's hard for you. Don't allow yourself to just stay in that place. That's not fair. So do you have a filter system for your opportunities? A what? A filter system for your opportunities, not like a vibe, not a gut feeling, an actual system. Questions that you ask yourself to determine whether something aligns with your priorities and doesn't just excite your dopamine tickles and fit in with the urgency that you enjoy. So examples of those questions would be, does this align with my 3-month revenue plan? Is this something that only I can do? Is there some way of outsourcing it? Is this worth trading time with my kids? Is this worth trading sleep? If the answer is no to any of those questions or similar questions, then you need someone or something that reminds you of that before you say yes. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that could look like. But if you can't do it for yourself, then you need to put a system in place. That's it. And I'm not saying that like it's easy, but it is simple. And if you don't do it, you're going to live in pain and distress for no particularly good reason, because you could put a system in place and not deal with that pain. So what are the consequences of the chronic yes? Let's talk about it before we talk about how to totally get rid of it, but mitigate it somewhat a lot of the time. So let's talk about the fallout first. When you say yes, you overcommit. You overcommit, you burn out. If you burn out, you ghost, you avoid, you scramble, you make yourself look really bad. And once you do the bad thing and you make yourself look bad, then you beat yourself up for being inconsistent. And then not only do you beat yourself up, but then other people beat you up as well. This cycle is why people stop trusting you. And it's not because you're bad, it's because you're unreliable. Now, I'm sorry, but you are unreliable. If you can't trust your own word, why should anybody else? And it's not about trust, it's about setting boundaries. If you can't trust your own boundaries and set your own boundaries, why should anyone else trust your boundaries? You said yes to too many things, and it comes from a good place, but it makes you do bad stuff. So let's bring accountability back into the room. This is where you have to stop being a solo act and start building a support system. And these support systems can look like lots of things. It can be a VA who reminds you of your workload before you add on more stuff. So that needs to be somebody who understands your strategic plan overall and is able to interpret consequences for you. We have people like that on my team, and their specific job is to anticipate a future gap or a future bottleneck that's going to happen if we make specific decisions. Something that ADHDers don't do very well is anticipate the outcome of our actions all the time. And sometimes you need somebody to say, hey, if you decide to make this particular change on the website, totally fine, not a problem. We can definitely do it. But it's going to add 2 weeks onto your deadline, and it's going to overload the graphics team because they're juggling a bunch of different things, which means that this is going to happen and that is going to happen. And these are the natural outcomes or the natural consequences of this particular decision. And then when you lay it out like that for us, well, maybe now I want to reconsider. So that could be a team that double checks priorities before they schedule meetings. It could be a bot or an agent, right? An AI agent that does these things for you if you don't particularly need a human to be checking in with you. You could have a coach or, a business bestie who calls you out when you're self-sabotaging. That's a really important piece, making sure that you have people around you who are going to say no to you and who are going to challenge you and who you're going to listen to when they say no to you and challenge you. You're not just going to cut them off. You're going to listen to what they're saying because you have faith that they know you well enough and you trust their intelligence enough to take the time to listen to what they're saying. We have a tendency to be very dismissive of other people because we just don't think that they understand as well as we do. And sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not. Saying no becomes easier when someone else is standing next to you and helping you hold the door closed. Like, this actually was not in alignment with the boundaries that you set for yourself. And if you have somebody who cares, who's reminding you of that, it just gets a little bit easier. And every day gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier. So how do we stop? Like, how do you stop saying yes to everything? The first one is to use the 24-hour rule. You have to build friction into your decision making because everything in our brains is go, 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 go. So you need to build in an opportunity to stop, to break. Create a pause between the impulse and the commitment and give your brain time to check in with reality. The way that I like to do this is to review decisions at the end of the day before they're implemented on. So if you know that you're not going to remember to follow up, make it somebody's job to chase you. Literally, a human being or an AI agent, doesn't matter. Make it their job to chase you and follow up on every decision that you said you wanted to make that day. Are we in fact moving forward with this or are we tabling it? It works really, really well in a list format to get an email at the end of the day. These are all the decisions you made today. Check off the ones that you'd like to implement on and let me know what you'd like to do with the rest. And then it becomes just about sorting priorities. This idea is a great idea. Absolutely, I want to do it right now. Now it gets sent off to your operations department so that they can determine what it would require to bring that idea to life. This idea is terrible. It's complete trash. I don't want to do it. It gets removed from your list. This idea is a good idea, but it doesn't really fit into our priorities right now. Let's revisit it in next quarter, or let's table it for now, or whatever the case may be. But that way you don't lose your ideas and you don't lose all of this precious brain power. You just allowed yourself to say yes to what is priority right now for real. No to the stuff that isn't priority right now, and maybe later to the stuff that is maybe later. You should also post your priorities somewhere where you can't ignore them because we need visual cues. You need a visible structure like whiteboards, like phone wallpapers, weekly team check-ins, people in your face asking you to constantly filter your yeses. Every yes should be filtered through these goals and these priorities that are constantly listed. It's not just a good idea. It's an absolutely necessary check-in. And like I said, if you can't do it for yourself, which you probably can't if you have ADHD and you're here, make it somebody's job to do. I make it a lot of people's job to do. I have a business coach who calls me every single morning and we go through the priorities for the day. And she checks in with me on what level mess I'm at right now, because the goal is to reduce the mess and to reduce the chaos in my personal life and in my business. And that is a daily measure of what percent mess I'm at. And then my team checks in with me and my assistant check in with me. We have systems and charts and accountability spaces. Every commitment that you make should be filtered through your primary goals. The next thing is to give your team permission to say, are you sure you want to do that? Because this is big. Okay. And please listen, because I know that your ego is trying to tell you not to listen to me right now, but don't listen to your ego. Listen to me. This is a big one. If you are leading a team, they see when you're spiraling, but they won't say anything unless you've built a culture of permission. If they are scared of losing their job, they're not going to tell you the truth. Create rules, hard and fast rules. Don't let me book more than 2 calls a day. If I say yes to something that's out of scope, flag it. Let me know. Explain the consequences to me. I'm giving you permission to talk to me that way. Give your team the language that's going to work for you. Like, do you want me to lock this into the calendar, or do you want 24 hours to review your capacity first? Did you want me to put this on your schedule for this week? This week's looking a little bit busy so far. I see that you have some more time 3 weeks out. Did you want me to book it then instead? That is real support. And then you got to track. You got to track every single yes. Okay. You are going to be astounded at how many things you say yes to. So for the next 7 days, I want you to track what you said yes to, why you said yes. You can add in a who you said yes to, because that's always just an interesting data point, and whether it was worth it. If you can't even remember what you agreed to, that's the problem. Here's the truth. Ready for some truth? You don't need more willpower. You need better systems. You need people who remind you that you said that you wanted to be better. They remind you of who you want to be, especially when your brain tries to betray that. Saying no does not make you rude. It makes you strategic. It makes you accountable. It makes you trustworthy to yourself and to others. You are not flaky. You are not lazy. You're brilliant, and your brilliance needs guardrails. So if you keep saying yes to everything, maybe it's time to stop blaming your ADHD and start building your structure. This isn't about control. It's about freedom, and the kind of freedom that comes from alignment, not from adrenaline. This accountability stuff is not for the weak, but you can do it. You can. You're brilliant. Just build systems around your success. See you next week, squirrels.